management of the polls.
Also, top of the news that our government expects a 50% voter turnout in upcoming district assembly elections. This local government minister says a future involvement of political parties is to be considered.
Also, the Tsar pressure mounts on Parliament to make public its investigations into the alleged plot to remove the IGP from office.
Hey, listen, quick question. Has government fulfilled its pledge to revamp Ghana's railway sector? That's the question we seek to answer on Ghana Remembers. You know the drill. Those are the big stories this hour. I'm Keminni Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta. News Central starts right now.
Let's get into our very first one. The Electoral Commission is proposing that polls close by 3 p.m. in the 2024 elections to safeguard the integrity of the polls. The latest comes as the National Peace Council charges key stakeholders of the elections to employ reasonable measures that will protect the integrity of the upcoming polls. At an inter-party dialogue, the board chairman of the council, Reverend Edu Jemfi, highlighted the importance in protecting the democracy and peace of this country. Now, my colleague Grace Hamwa Ajima is joining us from the Peduase Lodge, where the stock-taking conference is happening. Good afternoon to you, Grace. We have heard that the Electoral Commission wants voting to end at 3 p.m. Talk to us a bit more about this. Well, we're reworking the lines to get Grace on that Zoom connection. But Grace, if you can hear me, we'll talk a bit more about the Electoral Commission. But we also know that this is an inter-party dialogue, but one party is missing. Update us on this.
The Electoral Commission, the various stakeholders here at the meeting have been making recommendations from what happened in the previous elections, and the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, has been speaking. According to her, her outfit is proposing that elections in the 2024 polls should end at 3 p.m. as compared to the 5 p.m. that was allowed in the previous election. She makes the argument that they have put in place measures to reduce the voting threshold at every polling station, and she says they are targeting 500 people at every polling station, and she's optimistic that if 500 people vote at every polling station, polls can close at 3 p.m. She also makes the argument that this is coming from feedback that they have received from some election observer groups, including the CDD, and also from other independent bodies they employed during the 2020 elections, and they have confirmed that by 1 p.m. most polling stations in the country were empty or didn't have a lot of people in the voting queues, and so she is proposing that voting should end at 3 p.m. so that counting can begin as early as possible, so that we don't do counting and enter into the dark as we have seen in previous elections.
Indeed, Grace, I was also asking earlier about this inter-party dialogue and the fact that we know that one party is missing. Update us on that.
Yes, so it is an inter-party dialogue or a stock-taking conference by the National Peace Council. From the room or in the room, doing a quick check, I see representatives of the NDC, I see the chairman of the party, Johnson Astedium Ketia, I also see the general secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, representative of the National Chief Imam and traditional rulers, CDD, LPG and other independent bodies, but I can't find any representative from the New Patriotic Party, which is the governing political party. I have been doing a few checks. I'm informed that they were invited to the meeting or the conference, but I don't see any rep here from the New Patriotic Party. As at when I am making this report, I don't know if any of them will join us in the course of the meeting, or they might not totally be present. It is a one-day conference, and so I might not know what will happen next, but I can say that I don't find any rep of the New Patriotic Party here at the inter-party dialogue organized by the National Peace Council.
I see. That's interesting to note, but let's back to the issue of the Electoral Commission and the close of polls for 3 p.m. I wonder what, the other stakeholders think about that. But let's go into the recommendations that these stakeholders outside of the Electoral Commission are making for the 2024 elections.
Stakeholders here have been making recommendations on what we think we can do for peaceful 2024 elections. We have Justice Yoni Kolendi from the Supreme Court speaking some minutes ago, and he was making some recommendations on how we should tackle conflicts that will come up from parliamentary elections specifically. He makes a case that the current procedure that we have in resolving parliamentary conflicts takes a while, and before you know, sometimes the term of the person might even expire before the conflict is resolved. So he is proposing a new law that will reduce the number of time that goes into the procedures we follow in resolving parliamentary proposals. He's also proposing that, if possible, the Chief Justice must set aside some few courts that will only resolve petitions or conflicts that will arise for the 2024 elections, especially when it comes to parliamentary elections. So the program is still ongoing. Some more stakeholders or some more groups are making their recommendations, and we'll definitely bring you the updates as and when we have them.
Indeed, Grace. Indeed, Grace, we note the interruption with your audio, but thank you very much for that report. Our Grace Hamwa reporting that the Electoral Commission is recommending that voting ends at 3 p.m. in the 2024 elections. More on the story in subsequent broadcasts.
Two other developing stories is where the National Association of Graduate Teachers has called on the Ghana Education Service to stay off dealing with the interdicted heads and allow the unions in education to address the issues on their interdiction. The president of NAGRAD, Angel Kabonu, has been addressing a news conference here in the capital. Daniel Opoku, who is our Labour Affairs correspondent, has the details from that news conference. Is joining us right now with a bit more on this. Danny, talk to us why NAGRAD is asking the Ghana Education Service to leave these matters to them to handle.
Well, basically, when we listen to exactly what the NAGRAD president was saying, he was charging for
well, we're having a difficulty hearing clearly from Daniel Opoku, but there's a bit more on this. We'll try and go back to Daniel shortly. We know the Education Minister, Dr. Yosei Duchum, he's been speaking and says there will be fair hearing for heads of schools interdicted for charging unapproved fees. So far, the disciplinary committee set up by the Ghana Education Service have started investigating the matter. The minister says due process must be followed to respect the rights of the school authorities.
Judge the system. Regional directors made a determination that they should step aside. As the Minister for Education, I should not prejudge it. Headmaster worked so hard for us. They are determined, they are committed. When issues like this come up, we approach it with our open-mindedness. So I'll leave the process to the system that they have created to give them a fair hearing. Thank you. Okay,
As a minister on fair hearing, but NAGRAD says they want the Ghana Education Service and the ministry to stay clear of these matters and leave it to them. They will best handle it. The school heads are a part of their various unions, and they best can serve or help in terms of directing them as to the path they can go on. Let's connect with Daniel Opoku, this time on phone, for a bit more on this. Daniel, you are seeking to explain to us why NAGRAD is asking GES and the ministry to let them or allow them handle these matters. Daniel, is there a reason why NAGRAD wants to be allowed the free hand to handle matters of illegal or unapproved fees?
Right. So, Mawuena, if I did hear you clearly, we're basically asking why NAGAT is asking the Ghana Education Service to allow the teacher unions to handle the examination matter.
Rightly so.
Now, yeah. So basically, what listened to the president of NAGAT, that's Mr. Egbeta, was speaking based on the discussions with NAS and earlier being in contact with the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service, which was done on Tuesday actually, where they were asking, they were in discussions with the Ghana Director General, saying that they should consider what the heads have done and also allow matters to resolve amicably and really take them. Basically, that's exactly what NAGAT is doing. Let's not forget that both NAGAT, Coalition of Concerned Teachers and NAGAT, including TEU, have formed what you call unions in education. So this is a very big matter. Mr. Egbeta believes that should be tabled before the labor unions for them to be able to deal with the heads of institutions. And also, some of the heads of institutions are members of NAGAT. So that will afford them the proper ability and also the opportunity to be able to engage the heads, to be able to resolve the problem, while their superior powers, the Ghana Education Service, will not impose huge sanctions on them, but rather allow the teacher unions to deal with the matter.
Is it the case that they believe the teachers already have not been treated fairly? Because what we understand, even from the minister, is that there will be fair hearing even as they investigate these matters.
No, your line is not too clear for me. I didn't get it.
Right, Daniel, I appreciate that you could join us, struggling to hear us a bit this afternoon, but Daniel Opoku is our Labour Affairs correspondent with details from NAGRAT.
I cannot in my lifetime understand why the NPP cancelled Cocoa Road's contracts. Those are the words of John Dramani Mahama, the NDC flag bearer and former president of the Republic, who is assuring road contractors that a future NDC government will restore the Cocoa Road projects to improve access to growing areas. John Mahama was speaking during a courtesy call on the Adontehene of Rioso Traditional Council and the Bodihene of Sefibodi, Nana Kwesi Ofori Ababio II. Kamala Kluche joins us via Zoom with more on this. Kamala, quickly, what else is Mahama assuring the traditional authorities there?
Well, even before he went on to assure the people, well, John Mahama has been speaking late last night, talking about how the Electoral Commission should conduct itself regarding the upcoming elections a year from now. He's asking them not to rig the election in favor of him or any of the candidates, asking them to play the game fairly and that they should allow the will of the people to play out. But beyond that, well, John Mahama has been indicating, just like he did introduce in that he is very much angry. I have to use that word because it showed quite clearly on his face how he's unhappy that what they started as Cocoa roads to be constructed under the package of the Cocoa Road has not gone further after the new administration of the NPP came into office. Well, when the NPP came into office, they indicated that they were halting the Cocoa Roads and then doing an investigation. I recall the minority has time unnumbered really called for the report of that investigation to come out. As we speak, that report has not been fully outdoored yet, but they insist that some wrong might have been done within the award of those the contract under that particular regime. And so he's saying that because they cancelled or they halted the Cocoa Road, a lot of the roads, especially in the Western North region, where he finds himself doing the Building Ghana Together, to all the roads virtually are that bad. Today, as we speak, he's in Bodi. Bodi is in the Western North. From here, he'll be going to Bia East. And all of this, if you look at some of the roads, very, very, very bad. And he says that if the government had continued the Cocoa Road, these concerns that the people themselves meeting him, wanting to put the suggestions into the People's Manifesto are asking, these concerns will not come. But this was him speaking to the chief a short while ago.
Bibia atia sign. Oshe yebodi ha ade ba kwa yi na yenya kakra firi mu ene ye Cocoa edwuma ene Cocoa egu kra na senia na kan no o se ade ba kwa ehia motituru ene akwan Na bra ye wa ban mu. Ye hu say Western North. Say woka say cocoa a Western North we Western North mu a enye yi. Na baby ayete cocoa e de kwa amanone e kwaji dollars ne ade ba. Na nke wo see ese kwan no say na be ya ibetimi ama trucks na betwe cocoa no mo aba. Enti na de cocoa roads program by. Na obi abedi dance here Western North contracts ni bebre e ha na de by. Na contractor for a year juma bebre ye bi so yentimi enwie e na efi aban mu. Na hwe constitution mu a ye say aban bia bia ejuma ba kon ye e wo se ono so beto aso. And so aban foforo ba ya omo se obi enja na ejuma nto na omo be hwe se kana na bi wo contract no mu a emfi sen e no ma hwe mu a omo se hwe nim. Ma contractor nso ye fon so ye omo ejuma yes is kenny ho ye ntwa omo ka e no mo gya akwan ni na ato ho. Enti nana makoye odie ide na onim se also ne o chefa e wo se on saka on sabeka enti nana ne okan na ya tro ni na ato ho na nyame ya adom na mnim se nyame so be ya adom na tumi abedi ensem ebedi ensem a enyoma okan ni makoye osumpa hima osumpa henedie na chese bibia beto ni kwam.
NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. Komla Kluche, who's on this tour with him, is still here with us. Komla, quick translation on that, but also tell us what Nananom told him in response.
Well, I mean, the comment that he made came shortly after the chief had indicated that if you look at the roads, for instance, from Apontopra to the Bodi area, I mean, if a woman is in labor and they need to transport her to the hospital, the woman, you know, the condition in which the woman is aggravated because of the nature of the road, and in some instances, they lose their lives. And so there was a need for him, you know, to look at these roads if he's able to come back to office. So essentially, John Mahama was saying that, yes, of course, when they came into office, they had tried to put together this proposal, and that when the new administration came, they cancelled it or they halted it, said they were doing investigation. The contractors have not been paid, but, well, yes, still they're holding contracts with the government. They are expecting that the project will continue so that the people who come from within this the sectors would also have some enjoyment of the sort, even having access to hospitals, schools, and all that. The chief also asked him for the establishment of a nursing
right,
a training school for the nurses, so that they are also able to have most of their awards go into the tertiary institutions.
Komla, as always, pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Komla Kluche there.
Saying on elections, and a former director of elections of the National Democratic Congress, Elvis Ifriankra, says Ghana cannot afford to grant the new patriotic party another term in office. According to him, the NDC must avoid complacency and equip its agents across the country to win the 2024 elections. He believes, due to the current hardship Ghanaians are facing, the NDC stands a better chance at annexing a convincing victory come elections 2024. He's been speaking on TV3's New Day.
Of winning the 2024 elections in a massive manner, based on my observations, one, based on the current hardships, based on what we are doing, based on 2020. The atmosphere is right for us to win. We can win an absolute majority in parliament, and we can win 54%. 2024 is about the future of this country. It's about the soul of this country. It's about the future of our children. We cannot, the country cannot afford to have MPP in power for another day. Another day to be too much.
Well, someone would say it's a contest.
So we must all come together. Our chances are so clear. It's like having a penalty in a match in extra time, and the goalkeeper on the other side is injured. But therein lies the danger. If you are not careful and you start jubilating prematurely, you go and play the ball over the bar, God forbid.
That's Elvis Ifriankra.
Yeah. Who talks about premature jubilation.
Yeah, something we suffered in 2010.
Something he knows very well also.
Ah.
You know.
That's
you know where I'm going with that.
Yes, I know. I don't want to say that. But this is News Central. When we return, we're in Parliament because there's pressure mounting on the House to submit the report on the IGP removal saga. But that's shortly when we return.
For golden season, time to try your luck. The rules are simple. You can place bets on any sports event. Get promotional tickets. Take part in prize draws. What's the season? It's golden season. Time to try your luck. Use the promo code to get your welcome bonus.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be...
Favorite Abner Rice is saying thank you to all its loyal customers and consumers for being loyal to the brand. From the 1st of September 2023 to 31st of January 2024, buy any 4.5 kg bag of Abner Rice and you stand the chance of finding a gift voucher inside the bag. Prizes you stand to find include LED TVs, washing machines, microwaves, blenders, smartphones, bags of rice, burners, and many more. Redeem your gift vouchers from any Lele depot or selected wholesalers nationwide. So, what are you waiting for? Go on and grab your 4.5 kg bag of Abner Rice and win big. Remember, the Abner Achedia promo is on from the 1st of September 2023 and ends on 31st of January 2024. It's the Abner Achedia promo. Buy more, win more. Terms and conditions apply. This advert is FDA approved.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena me ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mhwe me mogam no mhwe bibia na so mo medu me fae no ene ma won kra me enu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra udi end point what dance am me call you no me Johnson sema na enkoyie empeso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no be for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. I'm free.
Me kai emre bi echemu na debia ye dabone ma me chinyi no nanso ene ye chua me maximum regular hair relaxer and free olive hair moisturizer ka ho no ma bra bo asesa me the maximum olive hair moisturizer no from maximum regular hair relaxer no na me dia fa me chinyi na se maximum regular hair relaxer ye chinyi ase ejuma ma ne yemre motso na atnetene no so kama me sanso the maximum rich hair pomade ye me chinyi na se na amanansei amanembubu na amanantetenso afeidie me chinyi na ashrin emuso ye dru maximum super hair relaxer so ko homa wona wo chinyi na edin maximum hair relaxer because you are the max.
FD Adredi Nkra.
Come January, the 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will take place in Ivory Coast. 24 of Africa's best countries will converge to compete and battle it out for supremacy. With no debutants, this would be an assembly of richly experienced teams. The quality of display will be like nothing ever seen. Join us on AFCON Quest as we build up to a unique continental showpiece. Get updates on the history of the tournament, preparations of all teams, and the readiness of Ivory Coast to host the rest of Africa. AFCON Quest, your 2023 Cup of Nations hub.
AFCON Quest premiering Friday, 15 December at 11 a.m. on TV3.
The winner of Talented Kids Season 14 is Abigail!
It is here again. This season on Talented Kids is inter-school competition.
If I like Mike Tyson, me dance like Michael Jackson, me kill a lion like Samson.
Join the all-new inter-schools Talented Kids competition this season, calling on institutions, parents, and individuals who recognize the talent in children children aged 6 to 12. Auditions will take place at the Aviation Social Center on December 23rd in Accra. Akuma FM in Kumasi on January 9 and Connect FM in Takrade on January 11. Don't miss this opportunity to make your school proud. Talented kids, free to play. I know I can. I know I can. Be what I wanna be.
Welcome back. There's pressure mounting on Parliament to release this report on the alleged plot to remove IGP George Ekufu-Dampare from office. Good Governance Advocacy Group Ghana says the delay in making the findings of the parliamentary committee public fuels suspicions of a cover-up. Executive Director of the group, Listowel Nana Kusi, has been speaking at a news conference.
To investigate and make the public aware of its findings. Someone is pulling strings not to allow for the report to be out. For example, if I were Dampare, I don't think I would have done contrary. Because if a report is coming out to tell what I have done wrongly, do you think I would want the report to be out? All on the Right Honorable Speaker to do the needful by presenting the report of the ad hoc committee that was set by him to probe. The report is a very important document that must come into the public for scrutiny. The things that are tough to want to present, they can be classified, but I mean, some of the information cannot be hidden.
Let's head to Parliament now. My colleague Duke Mensapoku joins me with more on this. Good afternoon to you, Duke. Do we have any idea when this report will be made public or at least presented to the plenary?
Well, Keminni, as it stands now, I'm told reliably from my sources on the committee that the report is still in the works and it is not ready. I mean, about 2 weeks ago, members, particularly the Deputy Minority Chief with Second Deputy Minority Chief, First Deputy Minority Chief with Ahmed Ibrahim had cause to raise concerns on the floor of the House about the reports that are piling up and referrals that are piling up in various committees that have not received the required attention and has not been reported back to the plenary by various committees. As we speak, nothing has been done in relation to this report in terms of presenting it back. They were supposed to report to Parliament when the House resumed from recess, earlier on in November. But as we speak, nothing has been done. My sources on the committee tell me that it is still being worked through. They are not going to do any more public hearings, but the process of writing the report has to be that thorough and be subject to all sorts of, forensic analysis and dynamics and all of that. And it's not ready for public consumption and to be presented to the plenary.
Very well, Duke. Away from the report, we also know that the issue of tax exemptions came up strongly during the discussions yesterday. What has been government's position on this matter?
Well, so I've been engaged in the Minister for Trade and Industry, K.C. Hammond, under whose aegis the One District, One Factory policy is implemented. Now, he says that tax exemptions are a part of the incentivization package that are given to business promoters to set up factories in the country. So it is a deliberate policy of government to incentivize industrialization, and they find nothing wrong with pushing consumer activities. Of course, they are going to look at it. If there are various avenues through which it is being abused, they work on that with the Ministry of Finance. But there is a whole legal regime, the Tax Exemptions Act, that governs the grant of tax exemptions passed by this Parliament. And they do not see where this brouhaha, mayhem, or this thing that what the minority is trying to bring up really where it is from, because it is backed by law. It is a deliberate policy of government to incentivize nationalization.
Policy of government, a deliberate policy to encourage local production and a transformation of our economy to purposely give out, as I said, incentivize them by the facility we're talking about, the exemption. if it is a case that some individuals are abusing the system, of course we would recognize all that for what it's worth. But it's not for a ranking member to just run amok.
Duke, we know that Parliament is racing against time to do a lot of this work in the last minute. What else is happening today? What other issues are there?
In fact, the House started sitting just about 5 minutes ago. Just when I was about getting on this call that the Deputy Speaker took his seat to begin proceedings. There are a number of questions for the Minister for Local Government, as well as the Minister for Works and Housing, as well as for the Minister for Gender to be answered. Again, there are 85 amendments related to the Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, the anti-gay bill that is also still on the order paper, as well as the various estimates. In fact, the reason why it's getting delayed is because many of the committees are meeting Job 600, meeting various ministries, departments, and agencies to consider their budget estimates for the 2024 budget year.
Thank you so much, Duke, for that report. Duke Mensah-Poku joined us from Parliament.
To some other matters, local government minister Dan Botwe says partisan district assembly elections is a key solution to voter apathy. Government is targeting at least a 50% turnout in the polls slated for December 19 across the country, despite low participation in previous elections. The minister believes it's time the country had a conversation about political party involvement.
Now, many democracies, this level elections is partisan. In African countries, it is partisan. Nigeria and other places, it's partisan. So we begin to wonder why Ghana will have the superstructure partisan, but the base is not. There are a lot of arguments to the fact that it even helps people, train people to understand, to take part in politics. It's a level where people can be trained, get involved, and all that. And then if it is obvious that the interest and the participation will increase because it is partisan, why is it not the case? After 30 years or so, is it not time for you to look at it? So that is something that maybe after these elections, all of us will come up again. You remember in the first term of His Excellency the President's regime, he brought about this whole argument of election of MMDCs and electing them on partisan basis. We didn't get the consensus we needed. But we are still discussing, talking to people, talking to some CSOs, and seeing whether it's something that we have to bring it back. Yes, but I think it's something that we should look at.
Well, he's also been speaking on publicity ahead of the December 19 election.
Well, we're looking at minimum 50% turnout. And it's so because since 1988, I believe, where we had about 56% turnout. No, 1988. Then somewhere around, I think, 98, we had 42% turnout. All the other elections has been below 40%, 33, 34, 37%. And we think it's not good enough. You know, these district level elections, they are the bedrock of our democracy. When we talk of people getting closer to government, government getting closer to people, talk about representative democracy, that is where it starts. You know, as low as the unit committee level, where you have 5 people within an electoral area, and you live in a village, for example, you can more or less divide the town into some zones and say that maybe a member of a unit committee will be in charge of about, say, an area covering about, say, 30, 40 houses. So if these things are working very well, then it means that the communication, the interaction between the people from the base of our society up to the national level, there will be continuous interaction. People will understand ourselves. We'll get to know what government policies are. We also get to understand the real issues affecting people at the base of our society. Then you can form policies, then you can address them. You can also get the feedback, and that consultation will be very, very, very well oiled. So we need it. It's important that we actually take this level elections very seriously.
Dan Botwe is local government minister. Right now, it's time for Regional Hub.
Today's edition starts from the northern region, where a cross-section of the regional chapter of the Ghana National Association of Teachers are demonstrating to express dissatisfaction over what they say is unlawful and unauthorized deduction of 2% from their November basic salary towards NAT Provident Fund. The group is also demanding a refund of the deduction made on the TM1 laptops, which most of their members are yet to receive. Let's have a quick chat on this one. Christopher Mwako is joining us from the northern region. He's been following this story closely. Good afternoon to you, Chris. What else have these teachers been demanding from their leadership?
Yes, so Keminni, basically, we are calling on the national leadership to ensure that there is transparency in their operations and also engagement with members of the association, such that they will all be at the same level when it comes to decision making. They do not want the leadership to always take decisions ahead of time, and for them, a quick response from the leadership as to when the reversal of the 2% of their November salary that was deducted will be reversed back to them. They also are calling on leadership to engage with the Ghana Education Service and government to ensure that majority of their members who are yet to receive the TM1 laptops also get these laptops. Thus, let's take a listen to what the association have been saying here in the region.
NAT members are writing to express our deep dissatisfaction with the recent actions of the NAT leadership. We believe that these actions have undermined the union's principles of transparency, accountability, and member participation. There are specific grievances that we are going to put across. First is unauthorized deduction of 2% basic salary for NAT Provident Fund. We are deeply concerned about the unauthorized deduction of 2% of our basic salary for the NAT Provident Fund. This deduction was made without our consent and in violation of the union's regulations. We demand an immediate reversal of this deduction and the implementation of a transparent and participatory decision-making process for future financial decisions. We do not trust the apology letter, the letter of apology issued. It is genuine and demand another directive in writing to the Controller and Accountant General Department to hold further deductions and refund the November 2023 deductions. Teachers have been overcharged and others have not received their laptops yet. We demand that all overcharged amounts be refunded immediately and that the remaining laptops be distributed without further delay.
Christopher, specific demands from these teachers. I wonder what the regional executives have been saying, or rather the Education Ministry has been saying about the 2% deduction, and they are missing laptops.
Yes, so for the regional secretariat here in Tamale, the aggrieved teachers are speaking the same language just as the secretariat, because this is a matter of concern to them. They describe the 2% deduction as unfortunate because there hasn't been that agreement reached yet with the Controller and Accountants General Department to begin the deduction. And so it was a mistake, and he assured that the monies will be reversed. Let's take a listen to what the Northern Regional Secretary of NAT has been saying.
Christopher would listen to that in subsequent broadcasts, but thank you so much for such a precise report. Christopher Marco joined us from the northern region, where some teachers are agitating about 2% deductions from their salaries and laptops they haven't received.
From the north, we go to the Asante region, where crop farmers have in recent times been complaining of not getting the expected yields. This has largely been blamed on the effect of climate change and low quality of seeds. The Regional Agric Directorate observes that the influx of fake seeds in the country is affecting production and poses a threat to the country's quest to be food secure and cut down on food importation. The Ministry of Finance Food and Agriculture, I beg your pardon, has thus engaged the services of crop research institutes to train seed growers to come up with quality seeds for the Ghanaian farmer. That engagement has been ongoing. Ibrahim Abubakar has been monitoring that for us. Is joining us right now this afternoon. Ibrahim, let's start off with the concern of the farmers. How worrying has it been for them, these low yields they've been recording?
Well, very worrying situation, because for most farmers in the Ashanti and part of Bono regions, they continue to record low yields despite using improved seedlings. Now, what MOFA and CRI has observed is that even though CRI, who breeds the seeds, provide quality seedlings, but they've realized that before it gets to the farmer, it is contaminated, and for that matter, the expected yield they do not get. And that has been a challenge for them. And like you rightly mentioned also, the influx of fake seeds in the country, that is also affecting their productivity. So now the both crop research and MOFA have decided that they will take seed growers through processes of producing, maintaining, and distributing quality seeds for farmers, so that it will be able to boost production for the country to be food secured.
I know you interacted with some of the farmers. Let's take a listen to them first. We come to you for a bit more on this.
Getting into the hands of farmers. And at the end of the year, at the end of harvest, you realize that the potential of that seed is not realized. So fortunately, we have the CSRI, Crop Research Institute, doing a lot of work as far as seed production is concerned. So we have that potential for our experts to train our seed growers, the necessary techniques that they need to adapt, so that at the end of the day, quality seed will be produced. And at the end of the day, it will get to farmers, and the needed yield will be experienced.
In Ghana, we realize that most of our seeds somehow has been contaminated. And it is our priority, or it's very important to Crop Research Institute to educate growers as to how to maintain quality seeds.
Ibrahim, we've heard from the farmers. We know that the Agric Ministry has been seeking to intervene, bringing in the CSIR. Is there a time limit to which they are looking to have these seeds improved so they can bring some relief to the farmers as well?
At least they are looking at by the quarter of next year, and they should be able to done with this and make sure that farmers get the right seed to plant. Because already the focus is mainly on maize farming, because already farmers are battling with the infestation of fall armyworm, and that is declining maize productivity. Now we are having fake seedlings also circulating in the country, and that is a major blow, because when you look at our food import and you look at the maize section, even though we have planting for food and jobs, we still import yellow maize in the country for poultry and other feed supplement. And that is what they want to avoid, so that at the end of the day, all those dollars that we use to import the monies will be left in the country for the economy to also see a boost.
Then Ibrahim Abubakar, my colleague in the Ashanti region, providing a bit more details there for us.
Now, let's talk about the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, who are accusing government of failing to consult members before the pollution tax bill was sent to Parliament. My colleague Emmanuel Samani has been speaking to the GPRT. He's now joining us for more on this one. Emmanuel, thank you so much for your time here. First of all, let's understand the accusation from the GPRTU. What were the expectations?
Right, many thanks for your time, Keminni. Now, we know about government's budget heading into 2024, talking about some additional taxes. I'm talking about that one that has to do with the climate, the 100 cedis carbon emission tax, if you like, that's going to literally affect every combustible engine in the country. I'm talking about Aboboya, motorcycles, buses, all of these. If you use a car with an engine, a combustible engine, you are going to pay a 100 cedi levy for the year. This, the GPRTU says, they were not consulted, and so they, being the largest shareholder of transports in the country, feel like should anything of this sort happen, at least they should have been consulted. They are also making, some claims about the fact that there's going to be that extension of the tax onto premier, the premier insurance for all vehicles as well. So if you have insurance on your vehicle, you're going to be paying more taxes. This, they say, is not, the way forward. And so if government fails to, come back to them and negotiate the terms and conditions of this tax, they are going to, you recall that sometime back they take the downward adjustment of the transport price, and they say that should governments fail to come to a consensus with them, they are also going to review all of the downward reviews that they've done over the past couple of months. Because, mind you, a couple of months back also, there was an increase with regards to the taxes on spare parts, which they also say that has skyrocketed the price of these things. So let's hear directly from the General Secretary of the GPRTU, Godfred, who talks about all of this.
This is GPRTU, and we hold quite the largest number of membership in Ghana. And we do believe that with all the policies that government rules want to enact and some of the laws that we do vis-a-vis affect us, we would prefer a stakeholder consultation that would give the idea of that particular law or the system they want to implement. Now, coming back to your question, the particular reason why we are here today on this press conference is that we've gotten the information after the reading of the budget by the finance minister at the parliament there. There are some 3 or 4 elements of tax that are yet to be passed. And one has to do with what the extension of the VAT to all premiums paid by the insurance companies. As if that is enough. On another area of the same bill, we are going to give in another additional tax where every internal combustion engine will have to pay a fee of 100 Ghana cedis yearly to the government. If you remember quite recently, there was some tax that were introduced on spare parts, and that one gave us a very serious effect.
Emmanuel, do they not care about why that pollution tax is important? What do they say about that?
Well, to them, they've, come to some sort of, understanding agreement with government, and so government should not burden, they being the largest stakeholder, should not burden all of us, if you like, with these additional taxes. But the nitty-gritty of the press conference will spell out all of these details, which is currently happening in there. So you want to stay with us right here on TV.
Absolutely, Emmanuel, and you
for all that info.
Absolutely, and you better rush back before first change. Emmanuel Samani there, joining us from a news conference by the GPRTU, who are accusing government of taking a unilateral decision on the pollution tax. You're here on News Central. When we come back, where are the real lines? That's a question on Ghana Remembers. Don't go away.
Step into the world of compassion and creativity on the Top in 10 as our candidates tackle a film task, creating documentaries on streetism.
You need to find out what you need to say what you have to say in a creative way in order for it to have some impact.
I was a little disappointed because I thought you would tell us what actions should be taken to deal with this matter.
Whose storytelling will capture hearts and whose journey will come to an end. Join us in this cinematic roller coaster where every shot tells a tale of resilience, The competition is fierce, the stories are real, and evictions are imminent. The Top Intern, today's learners, tomorrow's leaders.
The Top Intern shows Thursdays at 9 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula.
Enterprise Computing Limited.
Adansi Travels.
Center for Higher International Education Facilitation.
So secure your spot, grab a ticket, slots are filling up fast. Come and join me, Helen, and the rest of the 3FM crew for the all-white party.
Yeah, I pull up on the feature, screaming hallelujah.
Don't forget, it's the 28th of December, it's a Thursday. You don't want to miss out on this ultimate party experience. It's a party of all parties this December. Come in your all white and let's party together.
3FM, 28th December. All white. I will be you.
For all your exclusives, 3 Entertainment will be there to capture the fun, the glitz, the glamour, and the most exciting moments on the night.
It's a 3FM all-white party on December 28th at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, starting at 7 p.m. Please call 0531 100 927 and 0532 200 927 for your table reservations today.
News Central here from our news hub on the John Hammond Street. Just before we go on to Ghana Remembers, construction work is expected to begin on the 30-kilometer Kaswa to Winneba dual carriageway soon. This is because the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, has officially cut short for the commencement of work on the project, expected to be completed in 2026.
It's become one of the most dreaded traffic routes in the country. The 30-kilometer stretch from Kaswa to Winneba on a normal day could be a journey of up to 45 minutes. These days, at the peal of the travel time, it could be anything upwards of 2 hours with frustrating traffic infractions. Given that the stretch of road connects the capital Accra to the tourism and education hub of Cape Coast and the western regional capital of Takoradi, the chaos affects a lot more people. But this could change if government sticks to its timeline of completing the reconstruction project by 2026, as said by the Roads and Highways Minister.
This stretch of the road in our network has serious challenges and bottlenecks. That is known to almost everybody in Ghana, and members of the public have been complaining a lot because the traveling public as well as motorists go through a hectic time on daily basis in assessing this stretch of the road, and government wants to tackle the problem head-on.
It's now time for Ghana Remembers.
The Governor New Patriotic Party won the 2016 elections on the back of a host of promises. The railway sector received its fair share. The party in its manifesto pledged to revamp Ghana's rail sector to connect main business districts. The manifesto stated, quote, develop an integrated light rail transit system for our major cities to connect main business districts with outlying residential locations, end of quote. The party also promised to expand the railway network to the north of Ghana to create more economic opportunities and link the country with neighboring countries. A railways minister was tasked to handle the sector, and he argued there could be an economic explosion if the government's plan was implemented.
If we believe the research, which I do believe, because there's physical evidence, what will happen in Ghana if we agree to expand the railway is an economic explosion. what we are thinking about the transformation of the economy, can only happen or will happen the fastest if we invest in the railway.
Now, Ghana-Burkina, as you're well aware, is a line which the President of Ghana and the President of Burkina agreed that they will work together to make sure that we have a line from here to Ouagadougou.
That was then Railways Minister Joe Gatti. But quick question, what has been the government's achievement so far? I'll tell you, the economic explosion arising from the rail has not happened. Neither has this mode of transportation become a major source of movement despite huge investments into the sector. The lines are also yet to reach these neighboring countries. However, some significant projects have been implemented. New lines include 22-kilometer Kojokrom-Manso line, which is 93% complete, the 97-kilometer Tema-Mpakadan line, which is 98% complete, and to be wrapped up in 2024. And a host of other lines have also been rehabilitated. But how about the promise to have sky trains in Accra?
So our thinking is that by the latest of January 2020, we should start the process of construction. We are exceptionally excited also by the fact that a lot of the construction will be done in Ghana to create jobs in Ghana and fabrication and everything done in Ghana.
That was the promise. The result, construction, as you heard, was to start in January 2020. Railways Minister John Peter Amewu says this is no longer possible. He said, it's not possible to be done now. I don't see a sky train to be done in the next 3 or 4 years. There is not going to be any sky train. This is not possible. Our own taxes cannot enable us to do that. That's John Peter Amewu, Minister for Railways. So now you know how far we have come with rehabilitation of our rail lines and expanding to neighboring countries. As always, Ghana remembers. Mawuena.
Yeah, Ghana
I want to get on a train and go to my hometown.
Ghana does remember, and I mean, it's a lot of talk, really lots of talk.
Yeah.
Listening to some of the playbacks and economic explosion and all of that, we really should not forget some of these things, should we? Ghana should remember
no,
that
we shouldn't.
Railways.
There's a lot to be said about the rail lines.
Yeah, even the ones that are operational now, I mean, what's the state in which we find them?
Absolutely.
Some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves.
Brilliant
The Railway
question.
Authority. I think in the news over the last weeks, even there's been conversations about sale of lands and the likes involving Railway Authority and all of that. And so there's a real conversation to be had about Ghana's rail sector. Because, I mean, it's been said so many times, if the rail system works,
we're tired of the promises.
You can move from wherever and come to Accra and work and be able to catch a train back home quickly.
Oh, the example was you could be in Kumasi and come to Accra to work.
And work in Accra. And so,
I'd love that.
It would be great.
Yeah, but it's not happening now. I agree with John Peter Amewu that, you know, we don't have the money to be able to...
For Sky trains, I'm not sure of it.
Sky train.
Not yet.
Yeah, we'll get there and then do bullet as well. I don't know what's happening in
You're
the railway
dreaming
sector.
so far. Bullet trains?
Why? Ghana deserves bullet trains and sky trains and trams and all that.
That's our bulletin. I'm not saying anything more than that. That's our bulletin. I am Mawuena Egbeta.
I am Keminni Amanor. Join us again for the Friday edition tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.